2006, and I serve the college as coordinator for alumni and family relations. On behalf of the college, I welcome each of you to the series NOKELive, presented by the Roanoke College Alumni Association. This event is being recorded and will be available on this Roanoke College Alumni YouTube channel for future viewing. Please feel free to share your comments and ask questions during the event using the YouTube chat feature. Today's event is titled Taking a Dive into RC Swimming. The history of swimming at Roanoke College is one of an on-again, off-again sport that has floated back and forth between official NCAA Division III status and a club sport. In 2016, the college brought swimming back as a varsity sport, which has quickly established itself as a leader among ODAC competition. Tonight, we take a dive into the men's and women's swimming program at Roanoke with head coach Scott Thacker. After Scott was hired in 2017, the Roanoke College Maroons have been on a rapid rise in the NCAA Division III national rankings. Under his leadership, the Maroons have most recently claimed the 2021 Men's ODAC Swimming Championship, and over the past 4 seasons have claimed 39 ODAC titles, 69 All-ODAC team selections, 2 Scholar All-Americans, 1 individual All-American, multiple NCAA championship qualifiers, 5 ODAC conference records, and the men's and women's team have been named Scholar All-American teams multiple times. Scott has been named the 2019 ODAC Men's Coach of the Year, the 2021 Men's ODAC Coach of the Year, and the 2021 VASID Men's Swimming Coach of the Year. As an athlete, Scott was a Virginia State champion, YMCA national champion, ACC champion, NCAA qualifier, and 2012 Olympic trials qualifier. Scott, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. I'm excited to talk about our team and talk about the people that make it what it is.
Well, so first, I'd just like for you to tell us a little bit more about yourself. I understand that you attended Florida State and that you've also worked with several competitive swimming organizations.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Lynchburg, Virginia. So through all of the years, I haven't managed to get too far away from home, but grew up in Lynchburg, Virginia, went to high school at Jefferson Forest. I was actually a club swimmer in Roanoke, so not too far away from campus is where I spent a lot of my high school years training and competing. Went on to compete at Florida State from 2006 to 2010. Where I studied religion. And then I had the opportunity after graduating to swim post-grad for a few years and, got to go to Olympic trials, which is incredible. I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit. And then was kind of at a doldrum of not really knowing if I wanted to keep training after trials or kind of start in my life. And I had a buddy reach out to me about potentially coaching a team that he was the head coach of. And I thought that would be a really great opportunity to pursue. So pretty soon after Olympic trials in 2012 is when I started coaching. And from there, I coached in Richmond. I was a head coach of the club team there, and then was an assistant coach at the Lynchburg YMCA in my hometown, and then was the head coach at the Shenandoah Marlins Aquatic Club in Waynesboro, Virginia, until I was presented with the incredible opportunity to come to Roanoke and reestablish the men's and women's swim team.
It's an amazing resume that you have, and you mentioned that you qualified for the Olympic trials. So can you tell us a little bit more about that experience?
Yeah, it was a remarkable journey. It was making trials was a goal that I had all through college, and it took a little bit longer than being in college to get it. And had a really great opportunity, like I said, to come back to Roanoke and to train with my club team. I swam for the Virginia Gators under Doug Fonder, and then later Corey McCulley, where I got to really get into a great group of training, get with a great group of people, a great group of coaches, and just pursue that dream and got my cut and got to go to the meet. I'll be totally transparent. It wasn't a great meet for me. I didn't swim that well, but that's kind of par for the course for most people that go there. But being there and kind of having that accomplishment, that accomplishment come true and that dream come true was phenomenal. It was incredible to be there and watching Michael Phelps and Ryan Lochte and, Matt Grievers and Katie Ledecky and all the greats of our sport was phenomenal. I came through swimming at a really great time where there's some juggernauts in our sport for the United States. So it was definitely a huge blessing to be able to go to that meet and compete.
I was going to ask you, if you kind of ran across any of the super well-known swimmers while you were there. So it's really fun to hear that you were, in the same trials with them. I mean, you can only imagine what it might be like swimming against Michael Phelps. But I can imagine it might have been a little intimidating.
Well, I think we didn't swim the same event, so I thankfully didn't have to worry about him. But I think I couldn't imagine that pressure of being that caliber of athlete. I think it's especially for somebody like Phelps who had such high expectations surrounding him, coming off of 2008, his historic run, and breaking Mark Spitz's gold medal record, and then kind of having some interpersonal problems going into 2012. Just I definitely couldn't imagine being him, but like I said, it was a total pleasure and a total blast to be there and to watch the greats of American swimming do their thing.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about the hiring process here. What were you most excited about when you decided to accept the head coach position with Roanoke?
Right. So when I first got an email of whether or not maybe if I knew anyone that would be interested or if I was interested, my gut reaction was, I don't know. I don't know about that. That's really cool, but good for Roanoke. And about 30 seconds later, I deleted everything that I had wrote and I said, I'm interested. So it was actually one of the members of the hiring committee was Dr. Fleener. And so Dr. Matt Fleener was the one that reached out to me. And I think it was just a gut reaction initially of, hey, this could be a really cool opportunity to pursue. It, keeps my interview skills sharp. And I had always thought in the back of my mind that I would love to coach college. And coaching college is a hard avenue to get into. It doesn't matter what division it's at. It's hard to get into. And so just kind of took a leap of faith and say, well, the worst thing that could happen is they would say yes. So fast forward, I talked to Coach A, Scott Allison, the athletic director that day. 2 days later, I'm on campus, touring beautiful Roanoke College. The dining hall spoiled me with a wonderful lunch. And that was probably the thing that actually convinced me to work here was the lunch that they fed me. But as I toured the college and met with Coach A and met with Johnny Farmer and different coaches and different administrators, I really found myself falling in love with the idea of being able to reestablish this program and not only being able to step into the role of being a college coach, but a college head coach and getting to start something. I think that we don't have a lot of opportunities in our life to really spearhead something and go after something. And I felt like, well, the team wasn't doing much before I got here. So it could be great. We could sink, we could do awesome. And was very elated to be offered the job, and without hesitation, I accepted.
So what has it been like so far coaching the team?
It's been awesome. I think, looking back, we certainly had some very lofty goals with our first class of swimmers. And, when I got hired and on campus in January of 2017, we had, January really until June to recruit. So I'd never recruited before, so I didn't really know what to expect, but really relied on a lot of my mentors that are really incredible coaches throughout the different divisions of the NCAA that really helped me along and guided me into, obviously working hard, but not wasting a whole lot of energy in avenues that weren't going to produce for us. And so, got my feet on the ground and somehow had a team of 16 when we started. And I still remember our first meet where I just wanted to throw up. I was so nervous and so excited. And, it's been one of the greatest joys to be the coach of this program, and something that, I'm absolutely in love with and love doing. And, And I think if you would have told me a couple of years ago that we would have the success that we do, I wouldn't have believed you. You could have told me that we'd have some great human beings on our team and wonderful leaders, but we had lofty goals, and I thought it would take a lot longer to reach those. And so, really hats off, and all the credit goes to my assistant Brandon, who we'll talk about pretty soon, and the wonderful young men and women that really put the life and breath into what we do, and the people that have to get up on the block and in the water every day and get those accomplishments and achieve those things.
So, and talking about the swim team, I understand that the training program for Roanoke swimming might look a little different than some might expect. So what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I think sometimes when some people think Division III is that maybe it's not as serious, right? And I think that's just like a really poor assumption that people make. We're a very highly dedicated, high intensity program. Our men and women, we're swimming 7 or 8 times a week. We're lifting, we're doing dry land, we're conditioning, and we're swimming every day, Monday through Saturday. And we work really hard to make sure that we have plenty of practice flexibility around their class times, and really making sure that their classes drive their day and that we can fit in very conveniently. And I think what might surprise some people is just how hard these young men and women work and how dedicated they are. They have 6 a.m. practices, they go to class, they go to breakfast, they come back in the afternoon, they do it all over again, they go to study hall, or they go to the library. And I think that's just one of the things that's like help us be successful, is that we really prioritize being different in that regard, of just really doing everything in our power to provide the highest quality training and environment for our people.
So that leads to maybe an obvious next question of, does Roanoke College have its own swimming pool? I know the answer, but some of our viewers might not.
We do. I think it's like one of the oldest things on campus, other than maybe the trees. But we have the pool that we affectionately call the tank, which is in the basement of alumni gym. I'm sure plenty of alumni have swam in it at some point, but that's a really big rallying point for our program. It's a big piece of our identity, and I think a constant reminder to be grateful for everything that we have, and to maximize our resources. And so we use that pool multiple times a week. All of our groups swim in that pool, whether someone does the mile or whether someone does the 50, everyone uses that pool and everyone swims through it. And we also have a phenomenal relationship with the Salem YMCA, sitting on our beautiful Elizabeth campus. And the YMCA is home to the Roanoke College pool, which is our primary training pool, and we're there 4 or 5 days a week. And like I said, we have a wonderful relationship with them, and they've really been a huge arm of support and really a huge catalyst for our success since we started in 2017.
That's great. So what challenges do you face in a typical year for the swimming program?
Well, I think a lot of things in sports, you want to be really mindful of taking care of your athletes' physical bodies, right? So making sure that we're doing what we need to do in the weight room and dry land, not only to train our bodies, but to make sure that we stay healthy and resilient. And then from there, just battling the never-ending plagues that are on college campuses every year, and just helping them keep healthy. And those are the challenges that I usually fret about the most as a coach, is, hey, we need to keep our people healthy, in the water, out of the water. We've got to, keep them, involved with student health, to make sure if something's askew, that they're, using their resources to stay healthy. And I think like the biggest challenge, as always, is just getting people, moving in the same direction together. The Division III seasons, I think it's wonderful. I think Division III does it really well. You train hard for a portion of the year, and then everyone's kind of on their own for, the spring and summer. And then we've got to come back really quick and have this, pretty quick season. And so just, keeping people healthy and getting people back on the same page and moving back in the same direction quickly are typically, I would even say like they're challenges. They're just things that we spend a lot of time focusing on.
So tell us a little bit about how some of those challenges were different or maybe accelerated last year and now kind of in addition to this year with COVID.
Yeah, to say that I was always stressed about our COVID tests is an understatement. So, um, COVID really threw a big wrench into things, and I think in a lot of ways that we figured, and then I think in even more ways that we didn't even think about. I think something that a lot of teams, and I think we did too, take for granted is in the beginning of the year of every season, just being able to be together, whether it's the dining hall or out on the quad or after class, just that the flexibility and the autonomy you have to be with your team without restriction is something that we didn't have, and last year with our staggered move-ins, we had all of our freshmen here weeks before any of our other upperclassmen, so they're kind of out in no man's land, and we're trying to keep them connected and have them meet our people as they come on campus. And that was definitely a big challenge, and figuring out ways to get them together that were within the guidelines and within our protocols. And so something that unique happened is that, swimming became a major social outlet for our people. Being on deck was a place where they knew they got to see each other in some type of normal setting, right? Because everything else wasn't normal. Lunch wasn't normal, breakfast wasn't normal, lifting wasn't normal, but swimming, you got to get in the pool with your friends and swim together and see each other's faces, and so that was a big piece of making sure that we kept developing community and kept our morale up.
And your season was slightly different last year as well. Is that accurate?
Very true. Yeah. So one of the major things was we did not compete in the fall. We got to train. We got to train in the fall. We started a little bit later than normal, and then we very thankfully got to compete in the spring. Our conference meet got moved back about a month, and we got to change up some of the ways that we count our playing and practice season. And so it was obviously great to compete and great to be able to train. When we started, we were really limited. We had a few days a week for an hour to get 40 some people in and out of the water. And so you're creating new practice groups and making sure you're following all the guidelines. And then we got a few more practices a week, and then a few more practices a week. And it wasn't really until after Thanksgiving break where we were in some kind of rhythm that resembled a halfway normal training progression.
And so, will this year's season be any different because of COVID and the Delta variant?
I have no idea. I think that I still remember back to 2 weeks to slow the spread, and almost like every month has been a surprise since then. And so what we talked about a lot with our program last year, and it's still our mindset this year, is we take it a day at a time, and we take what we can get, and we're grateful for every opportunity that we have with each other, grateful for every opportunity that we have to train and compete. But we have to be resilient in the fact of being able to pivot and adapt as we face challenges. I think I have an opinion that's reflective of a lot of people, is that we want life to get back to normal, right? We want to get into our normal rhythm and normal flow and get back to worrying about the normal things of our seasons and our lives. But I also don't think that we're free from the challenges yet. I'm sure that there's going to be challenges that we haven't thought about or hope we don't have to deal with. So we just have to stay ready, and we have to stay resilient. And most importantly, we have to stay grateful for the things that we have when we have them. And then we pivot and adapt when we get challenged and when we need to change direction.
Yeah, that's absolutely a great way to look at it. And you're right. Everybody's learned the value of how to pivot and adapt to the challenges, I think. Were there any teams last year that did not participate because of COVID that you're anticipating will participate again this year?
Yeah, there were a few teams in our conference that did not compete, and we expect a full roster of schools to be back this year, which is the way we want it. We've been, when Roanoke started or reestablished swimming, was part of a massive conference expansion in the ODAC, and to watch all of the new teams that have kind of popped up in the past few years, and to watch our conference become one of the largest swimming conferences in the country has been a blast, but that also goes to, even maybe some of the sports here at Roanoke that didn't compete, and other sports across the conference that didn't compete. Us in the athletics world are ready for all of our sports to be back and moving full steam ahead. And we're strong when all of our teams in our conference are strong, and all of our teams in our school are strong, and we want them to all be back and to all be participating. And at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter if it's me or a coach at a different school in a different sport. We're all about our people, and it's all about the student athlete experience and providing something for them that's rich and meaningful. And when we're moving full steam ahead and able to provide those experiences like we did this past year, that's what it's about. And I think one of the things that I've, was really proud of, and I thought at the time it was pretty bold, is that, Roanoke was always very, very adamant on providing meaningful student athlete experiences over the pandemic. And the ODAC was the same way. They're like, hey, whatever we need to do to make this happen for our member schools and our student athletes in our conference, we're going to do. And it was an incredible experience to be a part of Roanoke, to be a part of the conference, and then to be a part of the championship committee for swimming that put our meet together and made sure that the meet happened.
So speaking of ODAC, what is competition like within that division?
Right. So the ODAC is a great conference. You have one of the perennial powerhouses in the D3 in the NCAA in a variety of sports in Washington and Lee. And obviously you have storied schools like Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon, and we can ad nauseum go over some of the incredible accomplishments of teams in the ODAC, but competition is incredible. Our conference is incredibly deep. Our conference always has NCAA qualifiers going through, NCAA All-Americans every year, teams qualifying relays, and plenty of individuals. So it's really an incredibly rich conference to be a part of for high caliber performers and people that want to just continue swimming in college. It's a really, like I said before, it's a growing conference in terms of swimming, and it's a really deep conference in terms of performance and ability.
So what are your hopes for this year's season? Considering all of the additional potential challenges with COVID and the fact that, you're hoping for the full roster of ODAC, teams competing, what are your personal goals for this season?
Right. Well, first and foremost, I want to get our people through a great season with a great experience. I think that as the past 18 months or so have gone by, I think a lot of coaches have really shifted to making sure that they're taking care of their people and taking care of their student athletes and making sure that they're having a great experience. And continually, what we want to do is, like we talked about earlier, I want to construct and create and encourage an environment of gratitude for what we have and gratitude for each other. And obviously, I hope that we get to have a season again. And I have no reason to think currently that we won't do that, because we've done it. We know what it takes. We know what sacrifices are required. We know how hard it is, but we also know how sweet it is when we get to do it. And beyond that, our guys are excited to be the defending ODAC champions, and every ounce in their being, they want to defend that ODAC title. We want to have a strong representation at NCAAs and have All-Americans again. Our women are a very well-placed top 3 team in the ODAC, and they're chasing WNL right alongside Lynchburg, and we've had a great I think camaraderie with Lynchburg, and it's been I'm sorry, alumni, don't be mad at me. It's been a team that's really sharpened us. We believe that iron sharpens iron, and as we've risen, we've brought some others with us and had other teams that have challenged us and coaches that have challenged me and made us a better team and made me a better coach. And so both squads are constantly chasing the top and chasing performing well and placing at nationals. And, and like I said, at the end of the day, like we've got a group of seniors that I can't wait to watch graduate, and we want to get them through their last season and give them a great experience.
So how many swimmers are on your teams this year?
We have 46 this year.
And how is that divided in between the men's and women's team?
We have a couple more guys than girls, but other than that, it's generally pretty even split.
So, you have one assistant coach. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to manage that many students, kind of across the freshman to senior spectrum.
So, two things. I don't know if you know this. So we will have an additional assistant this year that we're very excited about. He is one of our recent graduates, Logan Kale. He'll be helping us out on deck, which I'm incredibly excited about. He'll be an assistant coach with us. And then Brandon, who has been my longtime assistant and right-hand man, will be our associate head coach. So Brandon's been with me from the beginning. He's one of the major architects of our program, and full transparency, he is all of the organizational aspects of our program, and a lot of his ideas and a lot of his thoughts and practices with organization, whether it's organizing practice groups or organizing lifting groups, is how in the past the two of us have been able to count on each other to be where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there, but also manage that group. We've been, our second year, we were in the 30s, and then our third and fourth year, we were in the low 40s. And then we've been hovering in the mid 40s for the past two seasons, which is homeostasis for us. But what, he really helped with early on for me is getting those groups organized, thinking outside of the box with different practice schedules and how we can do things, because with our time at the tank, we have 3 lanes. You can't put 46 people in a 3-lane pool. You have to spread those groups out. One group has to be maybe doing dryland or lifting, and the other group swimming, and then we switch, and we have multiple groups that happen at the Y. So he's been a major part of that behind the scenes, and he's equally gifted as a phenomenal coach. He's coached ODAC champions and ODAC record holders and NCAA qualifiers. He has one of the highest coaching pedigrees of anyone that I know, and I'm a lucky dog to be able to coach with him. And we've been wanting to elevate Brandon for a while now, and I'm really excited that he gets to be an associate head coach, and he takes on some new roles and some new responsibilities, but it's the same good guy with great energy on deck. And we're really excited to bring on Logan, and that's definitely going to help. It's definitely going to help allocate some responsibility on deck and give our student athletes a lot more opportunity for feedback. Having 2 more sets of eyes and 2 more stopwatches on deck is really important and goes a long way for our team.
And so, you talked a lot about Brandon and Logan, but I guess, is there any additional information that you'd like for our viewers to know about them both, other than what you've just talked about?
They're just like great dudes, and I love them. They're awesome. I think, with Brandon and Logan both, something that is really special to me is Brandon was he's been with me from the beginning, right? And if it wasn't for a road trip with my wife to go watch a college roommate get married, and a pit stop in the Atlanta Chick-fil-A, and meeting Brandon Ress's parents, I would have never known about Brandon Ress. And so his family was traveling to Atlanta to watch his brother Justin, who's a U.S. national team swimmer, swim at the ACC championships. And so his parents walk in with they're decked out in NC State. That's where Justin went to school. And I strike up a conversation. I said, "Hey, I swim at FSU. Who does your son swim for?" And so we get to talking, and I'm in Roanoke gear, and we start talking about Roanoke, and they say, "Hey, we have our oldest son is graduating from Towson in the spring." And I'm like, "Man, he's a baby, but he's interested in coaching." And so we got in contact then and started to get to know each other. And it was very clear from the beginning that he was going to be the guy that was going to be able to come in and do what we needed to do. And I think most importantly, like, we got along and we have a lot of similar values and we believe a lot of the same things and we want a lot of the same things. And equally as profound with Logan. Logan was one of the very first swimmers that I recruited here. He was one of our first graduating seniors, part of our first group of commitments for our first freshman class. So I just like love the fact that he's going to continue to be on deck because he's someone who's helped build our program from the ground up, you know.
Yeah, that's great. We do have a question from one of our viewers. Frank Robinson is wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you recruited your first team versus how you recruit now.
Thanks, Frank. Now I feel like I don't have a total blindfold over my eyes when I recruit. So when I first started recruiting, I wasn't aware of all of the vast resources that are available to recruiting. There's plenty of websites and plenty of search sites. And so in the beginning, you know, I was given some good advice about where to look and who to talk to. And obviously we relied heavily on our questionnaires and even sent out emails to current students, and had a few current students at Roanoke that were part of our first team. And so as we've progressed, one of the major things that have changed is like the level of student athletes that we recruit. So we've gotten a lot more specific and a lot more deliberate in how we recruit. In the beginning, we were truly just looking for people to come swim. You know, if you could put goggles on your face and jump in, we would take care of the rest, you know. And so we use collegeswimming.com, Next College Student Athlete, USA Swimming. Obviously still use our questionnaires, but we have a pretty deliberate and pretty specific kind of formula that we recruit within certain time ranges and kind of certain PowerPoint levels on college swimming. And so that's been one of the major shifts, is really focusing on a certain level of swimmer, and then certainly kind of complementing Roanoke College's reach, where states that Roanoke College is strong, we spend a lot of time recruiting in. And states that Roanoke College is trying to grow in, we spend a lot of time recruiting in. And then we even try to reach out to maybe places or people didn't think that we could recruit. You know, we recruit people from Texas and New Mexico. We have a young man from the UK on our team this year. One of our first members of the team was from Ghana. We had one of our first NCAA qualifier, Riley Bird, was a young lady from Canada. So we, from a ability standpoint, we recruit really specifically, but from a location standpoint, we cast a really wide net. And then we're a lot more consistent and a lot better at our recruiting communications. So between emails and texting and letters and packets, and, you know, the way that we communicate with coaches and the way that we communicate with swimmers' families has definitely had some major upgrades and is a lot more organized and a lot more focused.
And earlier, we were talking a little bit about the benefits of Zoom when it comes to recruiting. So talk a little bit about that and how that's changed recruitment for you. Yeah,
no, love it or hate it, Zoom is a wonderful tool. We can do things like this where we can get in front of a lot of people really quick. And we did that with Zoom. As soon as the pandemic hit, I basically just sat at my computer at my desk at home and Zoomed with recruits. We organized team Zooms, obviously to stay connected with their team, but to also help our recruits meet our team. And, you know, just like this, it's really easy to get on and do a question and answer and have people have a really great conversation and really get to know each other. And so it's been a wonderful tool. And I think now that's like shifting a little bit more to FaceTime. Like, recruits still really like to video chat. And so we'll use FaceTime, we'll use, Google Meet, we'll use Zoom. And it's just been, I don't think it's changing, at least anytime soon. It's just an additional arm, an additional aspect of recruiting that's been brought to the forefront that I really like, because it gives us face-to-face accessibility to a student athlete and a prospect almost immediately.
So if our viewers were interested in following the swim team, how can they do that?
I think the two best ways are, one, to keep up with all of our updates on the Roanoke Maroons website, and then follow our Instagram. We're posting a couple times a week. Once the season starts, we'll have stories every day of our athletes and them swimming, and we have some really great plans and a really great social media plan for the year where our Instagram followers are going to really be able to, I think, get to know our people a little bit better and see a little bit more of their life just outside of the still frames that we put up there, and the stats and figures that are on our website. But no, please give us a follow on Instagram at Roanoke Swim, and follow along on RoanokeMaroons.com.
All right. And then if people wanted to come out and be at the meets, is that something that they can do? How do they do that?
Fingers crossed. I hope so. We have one home meet this year, and so hopefully we can have a ton of people there. We didn't get to have spectators last year, which was a total bummer, but totally understanding. So hopefully, as far as I know, we'll be able, and we're planning to have spectators at our meet. So we got to get through September, I think, and let the Delta calm down a little bit. But that's at the YMCA in Salem on October 16th. And you can get the time and all the details for that on the Roanoke College Maroons website. We'll start posting a few weeks out for that on our Instagram. So just keep on the lookout for that. And if you can, please come to the Y, come to the pool deck, and wear maroon and get loud for us.
And you touched a little bit on my next question when you mentioned that spectators were not allowed at the events last season. What kind of difference did that make for you and for your team?
It was really weird. That's just the best way to put it. Swim meets are always so loud. They're always so packed with people. So to not see those familiar faces that you always see with your parents and friends, and our team has an incredible following on campus. Like, our meets have always been packed. There's always tons of student organizations that come out. Like President Maxey always comes out, and so it was so weird to not have that core group of people there. But like we said, we had to pivot and adapt, and we had to bring our own energy, and we had to make sure we were taking care of each other and inspiring each other and motivating each other. So we're ready to have a very warm welcome to our spectators, hopefully.
When does the season officially start for you all?
So we officially start this coming Monday, September 13th, and then our first meet is the first weekend of October, where Washington and Lee is hosting the entire conference for the annual relay meet.
Are there other ways that our Maroon community can support the swim team other than coming out to the meets?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if this is appropriate, but alumni, we can always use your financial support. For sure. I think with all of our programs and with everything that's been happening in COVID, we're making our dollars and cents really count and trying to be really great stewards of what we have. And I think for us as a young team that doesn't have a super big alumni base, our annual giving is huge for us and really goes a long way in providing a really incredible experience for our student athletes. And then other than that, I think just, reaching out just with an encouraging word, shoot me an email. If there's anything that you want to see us in any way that we can engage with our community in better ways, or our alumni groups in better ways, we're happy to do that.
We have another comment from Frank. He is wanting to know a little bit about how you and your team leaders build team spirit.
That's awesome. Good question, Frank. So we have what we call a collaborative leadership model. So we have 2 women's captains, 2 men's captains, and then surrounding them, we have a leadership group. And that leadership group gets to make decisions. They get to work together. They help not only create our standards and the things that we value, but also they help create the ways in which we see them and visualize them and embrace them. We give them the space and autonomy to work through conflict and work through being, young people in college. But yeah, I'm a big believer in peer leadership and letting our people lead. They're going to have to do it in 4 years when they leave here, so they better start doing it right now. And it's definitely a huge it's a blessing to venture with them and to watch that arm of our program grow. And I think we've been growing some really incredible people and some incredible leaders and an incredible culture. And it really comes from letting our team, wrestle with and figure out the things that they want to value, the directions that they want to go, the type of team they want to be, and the type of things that they want to accomplish, but also the type of people that they want to become. And a couple of years ago, they wrote an ethos, and we kind of have a little phrase that they came up with, and it's unique, unmatched, and uncommon. And those are the things, the kind of the three words that we strive to do. If we can do those three things and all of the different areas of our lives, not only are we going to be great people, but we're going to have great impact in the spaces and places that we get to go, not only during our time here at Roanoke, but when we move beyond this place.
There was one thing that you wanted to kind of point out to our viewers about swimming at Roanoke, what would that be?
I think that what's important and something that stands out the most for me is just how well supported our people are here at Roanoke. Like from the moment I walked on deck to today, and it's going to be tomorrow and the next day, and it's been all through COVID, is that like the people at Roanoke love our student athletes and love our students. And I think that I want everyone to be really confident in that our program and all of our sports programs and all of our students here are really well taken care of, and who they're going to become, and helping them find their passion and their purpose and helping them become great humans is it's just not on the website. It's in the veins of everyone that works here. And that's something that's like really made me fall in love with this place, because it allows me to coach within my values and to lead a team within my values. And I think that's one of the most profound things that I think we just need to know, period, is that this is a great place for our people, and they're really well taken care of.
And so now, kind of in a reverse to that question, what is one thing that you could change about the swimming program? If there's anything at all that you could change, what would it be and why?
It would be phenomenal to have a larger on-campus pool, for sure. I think for two major reasons. One, I would love to expand our team to have a larger roster to provide more opportunities for student athletes to come swim at Roanoke. And two, but also to have our team in one place together more on a daily basis, with our roster size and just our lane space. And like I said, we're grateful for everything we have, and we bring every ounce of possibility out of our situation. I'd love just to be able to have a couple less practice groups per week and have our people there a little bit together a little bit more. And I think that, Salem could be poised to have a really great, awesome regional swim facility that would really be a great, the community and surrounding communities would really be great benefactors of, and it would really help not only grow, but also, edify and I think really double down on, making a really strong swimming community even better in the Valley. I know that's I think every coach probably wants a bigger pool, so I had to put that in there. So that's definitely my long-term vision for sure. I hope that, we can really get marching towards that one day, and also, making sure that it's something that, benefits our college community and our students and our community at large.
So I did want to pass along that Lindsay Nance, class of 2019, is watching. And then I have another comment that says, "Hey, Coach Brian," and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Sudniker here. "I was the last head coach of the women in 1982 as a student. We had 33 girls come to the first practice from a club team a year earlier. The pool was like a bathtub."
Wow, that's awesome. Please email me. I'd love to talk to you. I think I've been trying to put together the swimming history of Roanoke College, and I would love to talk to you about that. That's so awesome. Thanks for checking in and letting us know that. That's great.
And will you share your email really quick with him?
It is sthacker, THACKER @roanoke.edu.
And of course, if any other viewers would like additional information about the swim program or Coach Thacker, you can also email me at wood@roanoke.edu. That's wood@roanoke.edu. So just have a couple more questions for you. So I guess my first question is if any students are watching who may be interested in the swim team, how would they get involved?
Right. So easiest way is just to email me. Shoot me an email, say, hey, I'm interested in swimming. If you're on campus, shoot me an email. If you're a high school junior or senior, or even a freshman or sophomore, shoot me an email. You can also get on our Instagram. And if you follow the link in our bio, that sends you to our questionnaire. You can fill out a questionnaire and we'll get back to you really quick. Or you can go to the swimming page on Roanoke Maroons and find our questionnaire and fill that out, and we'll get in contact with you that way.
Okay. And then, this past summer, my 8-year-old daughter took part in swim team for the first time and just absolutely loved it. So if this were something that she or other kids of her age group were interested in continuing or maybe pursuing as a potential sport as they get older, what kind of recommendations and advice do you have for them?
Yeah, so I started swimming when I was 7. I got some swim lessons at a local pool, and then from there, the next summer I joined the summer league team, and then that following fall I joined a local club team. And so I think summer league is an incredible place for young people to start getting involved in swimming. And then we have anywhere, no matter where you are, you're going to have a local club team that's going to have a variety of different practice groups and programs for your kids. So I would definitely get them involved. I am a big believer in keeping your kids involved in various sports as they grow. I guess you could say I'm not a fan of early childhood specialization. Like, they should swim and they should run and they should jump and roll and throw things and just be the little active kids that they should be. So I think, one, if your kid doesn't know how to swim, get them some lessons, get them involved with, a local lesson program at your YMCA or local swim school. Get them involved with the local summer league team so they can kind of start to get that camaraderie and teamwork, and look into some local club teams. And in no time they'll be here at Roanoke.
We do have one last question from Lauren Grimmett. Sorry, Lauren, if I'm mispronouncing your name.
Hey, Mrs.
She's,
G.
huh?
I said, hey, Mrs. G.
She's wondering if you can tell them about the freshman class.
So Lauren is one of our swimmers' moms that I've known for a long time. I coached her son as an age grouper in Lynchburg. Our freshman class is awesome. We have 6 men and 6 women. And this is probably like our largest class from outside of the state of Virginia. Like I said, we have a young man from the UK. We have a few people from Virginia. We've got people from North Carolina and Pennsylvania, New York, New Mexico, and all over. We have a really, really great group of people. The freshman class is deep. It's certainly one of our most talented classes on both sides. We have some really highly talented athletes for both our men and women, and I'm really excited about not only the top end speed and talent that these classes bring in, but also the depth that they bring to our program. I'm really excited to bring them in. It was a class that we worked really hard on, and it was a class that we spent, like we were talking about earlier, like a lot of time really focusing on like a pretty narrow quality window, and it's definitely starting to pay off for us.
That's great. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us this evening. And thank you to all of you who joined us on YouTube for our NOKELive event. You can view all of our previous events on this channel, and you can keep up with our future events by visiting roanoke.edu/alumni. We do have 2 exciting programs coming up in October, which are hopefully going to be announced soon. And then we're working on the rest of the schedule for the remainder of the semester. Make sure to check out the main Roanoke College events page for a list of upcoming events at the college. And we want to thank you all again